again and welcome back. My name's Annie and this is my creative detour. Today we're moving on to Mass Make March. Now I know that I have one more video to do on my February Junk Journal Madness and that will be coming to you on Thursday, but I wanted to make sure that I started March with a Mass Make. And when I was making my journal in February, I made a postage stamp collector's card and I made it out of a piece of the leftover calendar. And while I was making it, I thought, oh, these would be great for Mass Make March. So that's what we're doing today. And I'll bring out the bits and pieces and show you the project. Okay, so you can see here that I have some of my leftover calendar. And I'm sure that all of us have some bits of calendar that we could reuse and turn them into something for our junk journals. So today I'm going to show you how I made this collector's card out of this piece of leftover calendar. Now you would be able to use any piece of calendar. I'm going to show you that I used a few different styles of calendars and I've put together some examples and I've kept a few in different stages because I want to be able to adapt them to projects in the future. So at the end, I'll show you, I think I've got 4 finished ones and then I've got 5 that are in different stages of construction. But we're going to do 2 on camera today. So let's get all the materials out. So we'll leave that one there so you can see it. And we'll pull out some stamps and a piece of calendar. So you can see that I have cut this one down from another calendar. All I did was I decided how many parts of the grid I wanted. So I wanted 3 squares wide and 4 squares high. So it gave me 12 different squares on my calendar. The numbers I want to be able to see, it doesn't matter if they're not running, sequentially. It's kind of irrelevant because we're not using it as a calendar. We're using it as somewhere where we can put our stamps and display something. So you can see that it's slightly different. I had some writing journaling paper on the side and then I put the faux stamp here. But on these ones, all I did was I cut it to just beyond the squares that I wanted and I left just over a centimetre, about 1.3 centimetres or half an inch of a leftover bit and scored it so that it could become a hinge for me to be able to glue that into a journal. So what we're going to do first is we're going to glue our stamps on just with glue stick, and these come together pretty quickly actually. I will glue all of my stamps on. You can see that I am doing a bird page. I have pulled out a collection of stamps and from all different countries. So there's some here from Canada, there's Papua New Guinea, I've got New Zealand, I've got Australia and Fiji, I think. You can see that all I've done is I've just glued on my stamps really simply. I've laid them out so that they're in a little bit of a grouping, that they looked fairly balanced on the page. And I've got an odd number on this one. I think on the next one I've got an even number. So I think that it's just a case of doing it so that you're happy with how it looks. So let me pull out the next one. And the next one, you can see that I've actually got my hinge on the opposite side. So I cut up my calendar and you can see that the numbers are running for the whole month or most of the month. And I've just cut it down so that it's the size that I want it to be. And like I said, you can use whatever calendars you've got or any other grids that you've got. Now this one I'm going to glue on, and this is all about sailboats or sailors, something like that. So it's got a sailing theme to it. And I've got 2 groupings of 3, but this stamp here has 2 stamps. So I've still got 7 stamps, but I'm grouping them so they look like they're blocks of 3. And I'm going to glue those on and I'll see you in a moment. Okay, there we go. Once again, I've got a range of stamps from different countries, some New Zealand, Australia, America, different ones, but two different themes. So we have our two postage stamp collectors cards ready to go. Now, what I've also got is I've got some scrapbook paper. So I found some scrapbook paper, and I'm just going to cover the back of the card like this with some scrapbook paper, and I'm going to put a faux stamp onto the back of it. Now you can see that this one has a sailing boat theme. So I'm going to ink around the edges of that and ink around the edge of the card. And before I glue it down, I'm just going to ink the edge also of my collector's card. Now this paper of my calendar is reasonably thick. Now, did I do that side? No. I hope you've all had a great weekend and had an opportunity to do some fun projects. It's exciting starting Mass Make March. I love doing mass makes. Probably can tell from my channel, in my junk journal gestures and in my mass make playlists, that I quite like doing mass makes. Now, just a little tip here. Just make sure that you've got it the correct way round. So we're wanting to pretend that this is going to be in a journal. Let's pretend here, and that we're going to open it up. So we want our scrapbook paper to be orientated the right way round. So just check that before you glue it down. So I'm going to be doing quite a few mass makes this month, and I'm going to attempt to keep them in the spirit of what they're designed for. So a mass make that is quick. And I'm not great at doing really quick projects. I tend to take my time a little bit, but I am going to attempt it for you to do a few quick projects this month. Now, this scrapbook paper that I'm using for the sailing boat is Graphic 45, and it is Catch of the Day from Graphic 45. This one here, I'm not sure. I think it might be a Heidi swap. It's just a random piece of scrapbook paper that I had in my stash, but I've got a feeling it might be Heidi swap, maybe. I'm not sure, I'm sorry. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to do some stamping on them. But before I do, I'll show you our stamps. Now, I made these. I made my own faux stamps. So there's one from a piece of Graphic 45 from the bird catcher or bird watcher or something like that. And this one is from a magazine, and it's of a yacht. And I just stamped 25 cents on it, and I stamped the word Australia on it. Now, I have a video on how to make faux stamps, and a lot of the ones that I use in my examples at the end of this video, I made in that mass make. I think it was actually in December I did a mass make of faux postage stamps, so I will link that video below for you, but it's also in my junk journal gestures playlist, and that has lots of different junk journal gestures in it. So little gestures that we put into our junk journal, and it has lots of different little projects in it. So have a look at that. But also that hashtag that is for the junk journal gestures is for everybody to put their videos in. So if you make little pieces of ephemera, you might think, what hashtag can I attach this to where it might get a little bit more exposure? So feel free to add your videos, if you're a creator on YouTube, to the hashtag junk journal gestures, and we can all have a little bit of a look at each other's projects. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to glue these on and work out how I want them, because I want to do all of my stamping together, and I actually want to stamp onto this image as well. So let's decorate the other side of our little collector's cards, and you can see that this one's going to go on here. And I'm making sure that I keep everything orientated the right way round, and this one's going to go on here. Okay, so I also have two little tags. Now these two little tags are from Margaret at Seven Plaza, and I'm not sure which one it's from. I think it could be Bob's Your Uncle, possibly. I'm not 100% sure, but I just stamped onto it express delivery, and I'm going to put those onto the side here, and I've got one for this side as well. It's just going to tuck in there. I'm not going to overdo it because, like I said, I want this to be a quick project for you to do. Now, I'm not worrying about covering this hinge because I'm not sure which way I'm going to put it onto a page, but we can cover that at any time with a little bit of washi tape down the track. Now, I'm also going to put on a little bit of washi onto this. This one I'm going to use a little bit of text washi, and I'm just going to tear a piece off, and it's craft. And now where did I get this? Ooh, I have no idea. I'm sorry. I think that I may have got it from Amazon, but we're talking maybe 5 years ago, possibly. I'm not sure. But it's craft paper, and it's just got a little bit of text on it. I'm just tearing it so that I can put it onto the page. And it is a sticker, so I'll just ink that up a little bit, ink the edge, and I'm just going to stick a little piece onto the page so that it looks balanced. I'm just going to put a little bit of extra glue on it just to make sure that it does glue. It is pretty old. And I'm going to glue this onto the back of my stamp. So I'll just put a little bit of glue on that. Now that express delivery, I did heat emboss that because I wanted it to dry quickly. So I just stamped it with VersaFine and then heat embossed it with some clear embossing powder, just so that it set quicker for me. Yes, I'm happy with that. I don't want to overdo it, like I said. We'll glue this one on as well. Put a bit of glue on here and glue that to the back. While that's drying, I'll glue this one on. I need to fill up my art glitter glue. It's running a bit low. Okay, now I'll get a little bit of washi for this one. So it's got a sailing boat theme, so I'm going to actually use some dot grid washi tape, and I'm going to just tear a little bit of that off. And I got those both at the same time, so I'm not sure where I got it from. I've got a feeling I got it from Amazon, to be honest. But like I said, it was quite a while ago. Okay, so now we can glue on our sailing boats. They're looking good, aren't they? So now they're ready for me to do a little bit of stamping. They're looking nice. I'm just going to round the edge with a small corner rounder, and we'll do a little bit of stamping and franking on our stamps. Now I have pulled out Tony's stamp that's called Postcard, and it's Crafty by Tony CBT0018 Postcard, and I've pulled out some of her franking stamps, and I'm also using the seal out of her identity card as well. So this one here, the first thing I'm going to do is stamp the seal on a few of the stamps. Now I'm not going to put too many on. I'll probably put two big ones and then a franking one, and they don't have to be perfect, so that's good. Now I'm also just going to put a little bit of text on. This one's out of that postcards one, and I'm just going to dab it in and do blotches of text. I'm not going to do it flat. I don't want it to be all perfect. Yeah, that's good. That one's a bit crooked, but that's okay. And then the last one I've got is another franking stamp that's out of that same postcard kit. That'll be good. I'm going to dry those off, come back and do the other stamping on the other side. Okay, let's turn them over, and I'm going to do some franking on this side, and I'm going to use All and Create Made with Love, and it's number 331, and it's the franking Rochester stamp. And I'm just going to put a stamp onto my stamp somewhere. And the last thing I think I might do is a few white splatters, and then we'll go on and show you all my examples. Okay, so here we are. They're mostly dry. I'm just trying not to touch them too much, the ones that we've just made. But you can see that I've got quite a selection here of things that I've made. It is a mass make, so I wanted to make some really good examples for you. So our inspiration came from when I made this one when I was doing my February journal for Junk Journal Madness. And I picked up a piece of leftover calendar that was just hanging around on my desk and thought I'll make a journaling card. And when I folded it, I thought, oh, that'll be perfect for putting some stamps on. And that's how I ended up thinking I'll make these for Mass Make March and turn them into postage stamp collector's cards. So this one here, the stamp I made, like I said, back in December, and I just covered the front of it in some graphic 45 pattern paper. And this one has a flower theme to it. So all of the stamps are flowers from different countries. And then I did the same stamping on it like I did show you. And then I put on one of the stamps that I made from my faux stamp video and a little bit of washi, and the same thing with a stamped little label. I thought I would do a Christmas one just for all those people out there that like doing some Christmas projects. So this faux stamp I made back in December, and I did the same thing, just stamped a label and some washi, and I used some Minte scrapbook paper, and all of the stamps on the back are all Christmas related, and they're from all around the world. This one has a fish or sea creatures theme to it, and I put a piece of graphic 45 catch of the day paper on the background, and you can see that I've also got some of that washi tape and made a stamp out of one of the cut aparts in the collection from graphic 45 and did the same process, and all of the stamps on the back are of sea creatures. There's a whale, stingray, a turtle, and some fish, and from different countries. So this was the one that we did together. I'll just quickly show you that. So there's our sailing boat, and the background was from Catch of the Day in graphic 45 paper. And we've got stamps from all around the world that have got ships on them or sailors on them. He looks like a captain. This one here is of an aeroplane, an old aeroplane. You can see in the background I've put some old aeroplane paper. Now this paper was from a Craft Smart paper pad that I got from Spotlight here in Australia, and it's a travel theme paper pad. And then I've just put some washi tape down and another label. And on this one, we've got stamps of aeroplanes, and some of them are quite old, the stamps. And then our next one is our bird that we made together. And obviously, there's all of the stamps of the birds. Now, over here, I have some part-made ones. So I have made the background with all the stamps and stamped it with the franking and that, just like I showed you. And I have put some paper on the opposite side, but I've not decorated it. And that's because I just want some that are not embellished so that I can create the story that's relevant for where I'm putting it. So we have a explorer one here. So all different stamps of exploration. This one is for the Australian Antarctic Territory, and it's of Sir Douglas Mawson. And it was produced in 1982. And we've got a New Zealand one, we've got Papua New Guinea, so different ones for exploration. Most of them are around this area, either New Zealand or Papua New Guinea or Australia. Then on the back, I've just got a part of Antarctica out of an atlas. I've got another aircraft one, but you can see that I've put the colour palettes together. So this one's got all warm tones, and this one's got some cooler tones. And then on the back, I've just put a piece of an old map. And then this one is of different locations all around the world. We've got New Mexico, we've got New Zealand, we've got some buildings or historic buildings from around the world. And on the back, I've got a map of America. And then the last two, I haven't covered the back at all because I want them to be able to be covered with whatever paper I'm putting them into the journal for. So I've done all of the preparation. I have stuck to a theme. So this one's all about flowers. And this one's all about different people in culture. So it's got a range of different cultures on there and activities. And I will just leave them like this until I want to use them. And then I'll cover the back of them and embellish them as I want to. Now you can see that I've used a different type of calendar for this one. This one here, it is still 3 wide and 4 tall, but it's a different shaped grid on it. So I just wanted to use a different calendar in my stash, so I cut those up and they're ready to go. Let's put one in my favorites journal. So this is my favorites journal for 2025-2026, and I'm going to glue it in to my journal. And you see here I have a page that flaps out, so the flap's going to work really well here. I'm going to put the flap onto here, and when I decorate this page it will cover it up and hide the flap, but it will mean that it'll still all work fine, and it will go onto this page. And fortunately the paper matches, which I didn't realize that I'd used the same paper until I flicked through my journal. So let's glue that in. I'm just going to put a little bit of glue on our hinge. So I'm really happy about that, how that worked out. And I'm going to just bring it down from the top a little bit and glue that into there. Hold it down for a moment. Give it a burnish. Make sure that the page still works, and it does. And when we turn the page, we have a coordinating flower, and we also have all of our flower stamps. So there we go. There's our first Mass Make March project, and it is Postage Stamps Collector's Cards. So I hope you really enjoyed that and got inspired to use up some of those postage stamps that you've got hoarded or stashed away that you're not sure what to do with. And they look lovely in the journal, don't they? They look interesting. And I will link below, like I said, my video on how I made faux postage stamps back in December, if you're interested in watching that mass make as well. All right, that's all from me today. If you liked the video, give it a thumbs up. That would be wonderful. And subscribe to the channel. And I just want to say a big thank you to everybody for taking the time to watch my videos. I really appreciate it. Thanks again for your lovely comments. They bring me so much joy and give me some feedback too on what you like to watch. So I really appreciate the feedback. So thank you very much. And like I said earlier, I will be doing my final video on Thursday of my Junk Journal Madness waterfall journal made from a calendar. So keep a lookout for that on Thursday. I hope you have a great week, everybody, and thanks again. I will see you on Thursday. Bye for now.